Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Down the Wire. Today's subject is about Dem Boys, but more specifically the owner of Dem Boys, Jerry Jones, and how he ruined the Cowboys' reputation from America's team to being laughed at every Sunday by all of America. How he ruined the Cowboys' potential to be a multiple-decade dynasty who are now sitting at the bottom of the NFC East. This is the story of Jerry Jones and his boys. Jones bought the Cowboys in 1989 and started making power moves immediately. He drafted first-round pick Troy Aikman, replaced staff left and right, and did something no owner would ever do: purposely tank, and make it clear to everyone in the room that he was purposely tanking. And the astonishing 1-15 record proves it. The Cowboys won 0 games at home and only won 1 game against the Washington Redacted. However, they get some quick help. With the 17th pick in the 1990 NFL Draft, the Cowboys selected Emmitt Smith, who would be a key component to the Cowboys' short-lived dynasty. Along with other trades, Jones was crafting a defense that would terrorize the NFC East for years to come. In just the 4th season at the helm, the Troy Aikman-led Cowboys made it to the Super Bowl, where they absolutely destroyed the Bills in a 52-17 blowout. And just 1 year later, they did it again. Same opponent, 30-13. So as an owner, what do you do when you win back-to-back Super Bowl titles? Well, you fire your head coach. Jones fired Jimmy Johnson after that Super Bowl simply for the fact that he believed any head coach would be successful with his team. And a year later, through the free agency, Jones brought legendary cornerback Deion Sanders after a conference championship loss to the eventual Super Bowl champions that year, the 49ers. And just a year later, the Cowboys won the Super Bowl yet again, this time beating the Pittsburgh Steelers and giving Jones his 3rd ring. It was safe to say the Cowboys were on top. They had it all: an all-star cast of players, one of the easiest divisions in the entire league, and a competent owner who could make the best decisions for his team. Or so they thought. Michael Irvin, who was the star wide receiver for the Cowboys, was caught in a Dallas hotel with cocaine among other substances. He was with a model who took the blame for all the drugs found in the room. He was the face of the Dallas Cowboys. It is safe to say he was one of the major reasons the Cowboys won all those Super Bowls. Irvin made a plea deal, dodged an extortion attempt, avoided jail time, and a murder plot by the boyfriend of the model who claimed possession of all those drugs. Safe to say he was a lucky son of a bitch to come out of those scandals like that completely unscathed. Well, not exactly. He couldn't get past a 5-game suspension from the NFL and a $50,000 fine. The Cowboys only made it to the divisional round in 1996, a year where they took a major setback as they lost some of their starters to injury, and even more in the offseason. 97 was even worse, with a 6-10 record and no playoffs at all. But this train wreck gets even worse. Offensive lineman Evan McIver was getting his hair cut while at training camp when Michael Irvin, of all people, came rolling by. He kept yelling seniority at the offensive lineman and was quoted as saying, Seniority, punk, get the fuck out of my chair." Irvin began to shove McIver and a fight began. McIver punched Irvin in the mouth, and that's when Irvin, and this is true, grabbed a pair of scissors and slashed McIver across the neck. McIver would be fine after a hospital stay, and Irvin somehow avoided criminal charges. In week 2 of that season, their star quarterback Troy Aikman suffered a game-ending injury to the Denver Broncos, which forced the team to rely on backup quarterback Jason Garrett. But Aikman would eventually return that season, and the Cowboys became the first team to sweep their entire division. This was also when the Cardinals were a part of the NFC East. Those 8 wins propelled the Cowboys to a 10-6 record, which qualified them for a wildcard game where they lost to the Cardinals. And during the 5th game of the 1999 season, Michael Irvin caught a pass, like he always did, but landed awkwardly on the artificial turf, and it turned out to be his last catch of his career. He suffered a career-ending injury, and a couple weeks later, Aikman suffered a concussion and Smith broke a finger in his hand. The Cowboys would be without their most successful starters for the first time since Aikman was drafted. That offseason, Jones traded 2 first-round picks for Joey Galloway, but to save cap space, he released Deion Sanders. The Cowboys made a tough decision. They let go of Troy Aikman after 12 years in 2001, and a month later he retired from the NFL entirely. That year, they went 5-11. The next year, 5-11. 2003, 10-6, but the Eagles clinched the division at 12-4. 2004, 6-10. 2005, 9-7. But in 2006, something changed. Tony Romo. Romo became the starter in 2006 and would guide the Cowboys to 4 playoff appearances and was a 4-time Pro Bowler. But in the 2007 NFC wildcard game, with a 21-20 score, down by 1 point against the Seahawks, the Cowboys set up for a 19-yard chip shot field goal, but a fumble by Tony Romo led to this play.
In America this year in Josh Brown. Meanwhile, here's Gramatica. Romo holds. 19-yard field goal attempt. Oh, it is fumbled by Romo, and then Romo's going to run to the end zone, and he's going to get tackled by Jordan Babineau. Amazing.
Unbelievable.
How crazy is this?
Safe to say, Jerry Boy and Dem Boys weren't too happy. For the rest of his career, Romo would lead the Cowboys to a fate worse than losing: mediocrity. Because at least when you lose big in the NFL, you're compensated with those big draft picks. Mediocrity just means nothing changes. Romo would start with the Cowboys until 2016, where he suffered an injury in the preseason and was unable to play for the rest of the year. The Cowboys started 4th-round draft pick Dak Prescott. Jones originally said Romo would be the starter once he was healthy, but that was before Dak lit up the league. Romo would never play a down of football after 2016. He retired from the NFL entirely, but scored it big with CBS, as you probably hear him every single Sunday. An 8-in-a-row win streak that year would send the Cowboys to the playoffs, but they wouldn't get too far. Fast forward to present day, and like the rest of us, 2020 has not been too kind to Dallas. Prescott received a season-ending injury in Week 5, and the Cowboys are currently sitting at 4-9, and playoffs are almost out of the question. Their star running back Ezekiel Elliott has severely regressed, and instead of feasting on the footballs, he's fumbling them. So you might be asking yourself right now, what on earth happened? Jerry Jones happened. Jones is well known for being one of the worst owners in the NFL, probably sitting there with around Dean Spanos and Dan Snyder. Dean Spanos and Dan Snyder are a really low bar. It seems like Jones has had a 20-year Super Bowl hangover because he hasn't done much since his 3rd title in the 90s. Jerry Boy's ego has also leaked into the fan base, and America's team has become one of the most hated teams in all of the league because of their fans. Every single year they talk about how they're dem boys and they're going to the Super Bowl, but that's all it is, talk. These are the people responsible for whatever this is.
Come on, boys, right now, you ready?
Okay, it's prime time, let them know who you are. You know it's game time, cause all you see is blue stars.
So the Cowboys lived and died in Jerry's control, and I honestly don't believe they will reach the greatness they once had as long as Jerry Boy is in charge. He was the main culprit behind the Rams leaving St. Louis and the Chargers leaving San Diego. The Cowboys lost both of their games to a team that has no name, and they don't look like they're making the playoffs this year. Even in the NFC East, they are actually sitting in last place. So everyone, stand up, take a deep breath, sit back down, relax, and say it with me now. How about them Cowboys? Also, since I mentioned him in this video, I have to say it. Fuck you, Spanos. Well, thanks for sticking around. If you have any suggestions for videos you want to see in the future, please comment them down below. I promise you, I'll read all of them. I have some ideas, but I'm also looking for new ideas from you guys. I'll have a link to my Twitter and my Discord server in the description. And with that out of the way, I'll see you on the flip side.